with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
We'll start off with some sad news. Someone I know everyone on the show is a big fan of. Brian Dennehy, big burly guy, starred in lots of films, First Blood, Tommy Boy, tons of TV series, many plays. He has died at the age of 81. This happened Wednesday night of what they're saying is natural causes in New Haven, Connecticut. This is according to his representatives at ICM. Brian Dennehy died.
Oh, yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, it was great. We pulled a clip, Kaylin or Gabe, somebody pulled this clip. I'm not familiar with this movie, but if you want to watch just what they said was just a fantastic acting clinic from Brian Dennehy, we can play that real quick. From Bestseller.
Fuck you. And fuck your hairy friend. Hold it. What? I said, hold it. Jesus, what do you think, you're Al Pacino, huh? Huh? Don't break my fucking hand. Break your fucking hand. You're threatening a police officer on the second floor of the Southeast Division, scumbag. I'll kick your fucking goon ass all the way from here to Pasadena and back. You'll be picking that new rug of yours out of the freeway, you fucking asshole. Now spread 'em! What's this? Huh? What's this? I hope you don't have a permit for this.
This man is a licensed private investigator. He has a permit to carry a handgun anywhere in the state of California. The only threat that's been made in this room has been made by you.
Cop on the edge.
Public relations, huh?
You know, it's kind of, you know how they say, like, God, I'm trying to think who I was talking to. Oh, I was, okay. I was talking to Rob Lowe, and...
Oh, nothing.
We're going to air that later. When are we going to air Rob Lowe?
A week from Monday.
Week from Monday. Anyway, real nice guy, real interesting conversation. But anyway, he was telling me about a movie that he wrote, and that it was a long time ago, but there's some interest in it and blah, blah, blah. And then he said, we're thinking about shopping it back out there, but because of cell phones, we have to change a few things. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right, because all your mystery of being trapped on the train and blah, 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 if everyone has a cell phone, it can hurt a movie that you wrote 23 years ago or whatever.
Of course.
Now that we have HR departments, all that part where everyone roughs up guys and like, come on, pal, take it out in the street, and they like shove their cop against the wall in the locker room and everything. It's all kind of out the window now, isn't it? Yeah. Like everyone would be written up and
with
fired.
Body cams?
Well, first off, if you put your hands on anybody in a precinct or in a gymnasium, it's like, I will sue your ass, dude.
Your career's over.
Right. The thugs used to just have to take it. You know, like even if you
Who
watch,
they gonna believe, you or me?
You watch like TJ Hooker and he's like, yeah, thugs like you make me want to puke, punk. And then they punch him in the gut. And then the guy goes, okay, I'll talk. You know, now it's just I'll sue your ass. You're not the boss of me. Give me your badge number. There's no more roughing up and getting information, no getting your point across in a forceful way anymore. Like everyone would just be screaming, my dad's an attorney and I'm going to fucking sue you.
Wasn't that a recurring subplot in Fletch? Like the cops just stop by the beach and beat up Gummy, the black guy, like just beat him up randomly and then leave.
Oh, Gummy Bear?
Yeah, Gummy. Like the Fletch had a friend. He was undercover, remember, on the beach.
No, I never saw Fletch, but
okay, well,
I know everyone loved Fletch. But they named him Gummy because Huggy Bear was the guy that got the information from in Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, they never referred to him. They never referred to him as Gummy Bear. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So in Starsky and Hutch, the black pimp was Huggy, Huggy Bear, and they used to talk to Huggy Bear. By the way, Huggy Bear was named like Antonio Vargas or something like that. Vargas. And his son went on to play at like USC, I think.
Yep. Justin Vargas played. Justin Vargas was a high school legend. Went to Michigan, broke his leg in like an ugly like kickoff return, like compound fracture kind of thing. Transferred to USC. played well for a year and actually played for the Raiders and like rushed for 1,000 yards. Like he actually had a decent, like, serviceable NFL career.
Yeah, if you want to know the years, I can go upstairs and ask Lynette, or you can just pull it off the computer there.
Well, she can confirm. I'm fairly confident, but she can confirm the years.
Right. All right. So they called Gummy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Flesh. I'm doing the math. They called him Gummy as a joke to Huggy. And Huggy Bear was, when they wrote Fletch, it was probably only 4 years after Starsky and Hutch went off the air, something
That's interesting,
like that.
Yeah.
So they called him Gummy Bear as a joke. Sorry.
That's very astute. Now, if you can explain why they called him Huggy Bear, that would be great.
I don't know. I think maybe Beretta had Rooster. They all had to have some black pimp on the street who they could go get information from.
Right.
Sure.
Who somehow liked them. Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, Adam, I know you're a big golfer, so this would probably be good news for you. You and Dennis Quaid share that love. The PGA Tour says it plans to go ahead with the scheduled Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas on June 11th. Despite the cancellation and postponements of other PGA tournaments, including the Masters, the organization believes it will be able to end its the coronavirus shutdown in June in time for this tournament. But if you can't be there to witness it yourself, they'll just have them, walk around and golf on their own, and then they'll live stream it.
The golf, it's one of those things where, like Mike August, who is a nutty golf fanatic that a lot of people don't know of and loves to hit a bucket of balls. One of his laments is like he can't go to the driving range. And
which seems like a perfect place to go when you're social distancing.
Well, I know, but there's all this stuff where it's like, well, it's not the driving range, the clubhouse. Because, once you enter the clubhouse, you have to get nude and it's a Roman orgy in there. And it's like, oh, well, then close the clubhouse. Yeah. Then close the clubhouse.
Just outside.
And Mike's like, you go to the driving range, you put your money in a vending machine and a bucket of balls comes out. You're not even dealing with anybody.
Right.
And then he goes, I know, it's really bad. And then he goes, but God, it's getting bad. I've been thrown off at 2 golf courses. And I said, thrown off of it. Well, I was trying to break in, I was like, he's trying to sneak on to golf courses to play golf. But it is about as fucking solitary as you can get, a driving range or a golf. We should all
actually playing golf.
You are social. It is the essence of socially distancing, you playing golf. And for me, I would like this stuff better if it was a little more nuanced, where you went like, okay, no going to the disco, but you can go to the driving range.
Right.
The idea of like no disco, no driving range doesn't. It's like when it's when I lose a little faith in government, like when they go, hey, we're gonna make marijuana a Schedule C narcotic the same way as we do PCP. Right. And you kind of go, or whatever they call it, and you go, but it's not the same thing at all. I know, but they're both Schedule 5 narcotics. It's like, well, why do we have labels then? What are we using labels for? Why do we have small, medium, and large? Why do we have manslaughter and murder 1? Why are you lumping pot in with heroin? It's like,
we have a system. We have a system by which to differentiate. You use the system.
Right. And so they go, because we're the government and that's how we do it. And it's like, well, then I'm not going to listen to a lot of what you have to say if this is your system. So let's not lump pot in with heroin, and let's not make a driving range a disco.
And on top of that, while sports fans like us are like starving for any kind of competition to like watch on TV, like I understand the grandstands not being packed, but like golf, tennis, these are sports that we could pretty much start up pretty soon, like, with obvious restrictions, locker room and stuff. But like, get the tennis players playing, get the golfers golfing. Tennis
is like a game we made up to deal with a quarantine. You go way over there, I'll just hit it. You can't reach me from there.
We have a clip of something we're looking at playing, but it's sort of a mystery to me.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up. So I just got a notification. This may have been tailor-made for me specifically, why I got the notification. Maybe you didn't. But apparently there is a teaser available right now for an Angelyne movie. It's starring Emmy Rossum, And, there's a lot of mystery around Miss Angelyne. I've done deep dives. I believe her parents may have been Holocaust survivors. She's very hard to find information on. I doubt that made it into the trailer. But if we'd like to watch it together, it's just out this second, and it's about 60 seconds long.
All right, let's do that.
So, what are you advertising?
Myself, of course.
Yourself.
Myself.
You want to put up posters of yourself, just you, around the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why not? Nobody's ever done it. Why not start now?
I bet people will talk about this 100 years from now.
The mystery of Angelyne has become a media obsession. So, Angelyne, what exactly are you famous for?
I'm famous for being on billboards. I am a bright pink light, here to inspire joy.
So, why billboards?
You want to grab people's attention? You have to tease.
What happens now? Now, we wait.
Oh my God!
I'm into that.
I'm so excited.
If it's done well, I'll see. Emmy Rossum's bosom was prodigious in that clip. Do you think she got implants for the movie, or do you think those are CGI?
I think there are ways to do a little movie magic that she didn't go under the knife for that, Brian.
Yeah, I think they went kind of like Mark Wahlberg's honker kind of direction.
Yeah.
I do like the theme that emerges with Gina Grad. She's like, well, when I'm not talking about Dolly Parton, I'm talking about Angelyne. And by the way, breaking Adrienne Barbeau news, people.
I have a type.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Angelyne, I mean, Google, if you're not familiar, she's a California icon, started in the 80s with these billboards. She's still around. You still see her zipping around the valley in a very beat up pink Corvette. A lot of times you'll see it and it has like that pink there, that tape over the tail light. I don't think the car is doing super well, but very excited about the movie.
Yeah. We saw her when we were filming Road Hard. The scenes I was shooting with Jay Moore in his office, she pulled up behind a little restaurant we're at and was parked there. And somebody like dared somebody to go down there and like talk to her or something. It was a really weird scene. Wait, Max Patty, you have thoughts?
I was there. It was Mike August daring Jay Moore to go, because it's when we were shooting the Jay Moore scene at Road Hard. And Mike August was daring people, and then Mike had his phone out, and she was covering her face with a magazine of her face that was a lot younger than who she was now, and she would just walk around with that magazine covering her face.
It's fantastic.
It is. It's so like poetic and sad, and on one hand, she never, I guess, realized her dream and became a movie star. On the other hand, everyone knows who she is, which is half the reason some people want to be a movie star.
Well, and these days it's like no big deal to say someone's famous for being famous. But what a concept. We had never heard of such a thing. But what are you famous for? Like, we just couldn't accept it. And now it's par for the course.
Yeah, she was ahead of her time.
Yeah.
I'm going to do stand-up in a few. I'm going to leave to go do stand-up pretty soon. I want you guys to think. I thought, well, I can't really see sort of doing the act, that seems not inappropriate, but I don't know, feels weird to just be making mother-in-law jokes or something. On the other hand, you don't want to just stand there and talk. Like, on the other hand, you want to do some lockdown humor, some toilet paper hoarding humor, some stuff like the observational stuff that's going on today. And on the other hand, it seems to me that you want to deliver a little message as well, perhaps. Right. Maybe it shouldn't all be stand-up per se. There's nobody in the audience anyway. Think about angles a little bit. I'm literally, when we end this, I'm literally going to pack up my jokes and head over to the Laugh Factory. So I haven't done comedy in a couple of months. I really don't know exactly what the bits are going to be or what it should be.
I have a thought.
I did some some coronavirus humor before I left the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff seems to be interesting. She was in The Fog and Swamp Thing?
She was in Swamp Thing. That I know.
I think you have your material.
Thank you.
Yeah, first
Just
20 minutes.
Adrian Barbeau trivia. I have a thought about that. The two headlines from the news that may jog something for you. You know how you talk about doing the time or letting the time do you? Well, two headlines I have right in front of me. People binging, of course, more streaming services than ever. The average person is watching a full TV series, the entire series, in 48 hours, which is like sort of record breaking. Also, alcohol sales way up, and now the World Health Organization warning it could be bad in terms of link to coronavirus. It lowers your immune system. Please, everyone, stop binge drinking because alcohol sales are through the roof. So maybe there's a tie-in there of just people going stir crazy and sedating and TV and drinking.
Yeah. Oh, there is. As we learned last week, it's easy to do some day drinking. It's easy, and there's many things that prevent you. It's like people who don't smoke, then they just don't smoke during the day or in the evening. But the thing about drinking is the relationship with booze is like, it's not that it's never a good time to drink, while the sun is shining. Right. Au contraire, there's brunch and there's mimosas and there's Bloody Marys and there's tailgating and there's all sorts of stuff. But then mostly the reason you don't drink during the day is there are things that sort of dissuade you or prevent you. Like, I got to go to work. I got to drive home from work. I got to pick up the kids. I got to blah, 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 blah. You get rid of all that. Now it's just you, a bottle, a TV set, a ceiling fan, a little porn, and a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other.
The angel's drunk.
Yeah.
I like Gina's idea. You mentioned, Adam, doing something like having a message or something inspirational or whatever. Gina's idea of you can do the time can do you. That's a really insightful. Obviously, Garagos quoted that one. That's a really insightful message. I forget if it was on this show, on the air, off the air, but this is the time to tell stories, like they tell you, don't tell stories, tell jokes or whatever. Right. It's like, oh no, that plays to your strength. And then maybe something like, the positive side, the upside of coronavirus, the upside of lockdown, the silver linings, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you.
Just off the top of my head.
Making notes as you speak. Sorry, Gina, go ahead.
All right. So I mentioned that alcohol sales way up and the World Health Organization really begging people to stop with the binge drinking. But that's not holding water for people in Pennsylvania. Apparently about a month ago, Pennsylvania closed all its state-owned liquor stores in an attempt to stop the spread of coronavirus. So residents started driving to neighboring states to get their alcohol. Well, now Ohio and West Virginia have put a stop to that. Shoppers in 6 counties along the Pennsylvania border can buy liquor in person only if they have a valid Ohio photo ID or a valid active duty military photo. That's according to a statement by the governor. They say any other time we'd love to have visitors from Pennsylvania, but right now it creates an unacceptable public health issue. Pennsylvania reopened its state-owned liquor stores online a few weeks ago, but they are struggling to keep up with overwhelming demand.
Well, the state-run liquor store feels weird to me, doesn't it? I know it's around in certain places, but I don't do a lot of bragging on California, but I will say this: not having state-run liquor stores is nice. Yeah, being able to go into a Trader Joe's and buy a bottle of scotch, a 6-pack of beer, and a bottle of wine, and not have to go to the store that wasn't open down the street that sells wine. And like I said, just like in New York, when I was doing Celebrity Apprentice, I was walking into the Whole Foods, like right there in Manhattan, because you end up cooking a lot, like in your apartment, like you stay in the Trump Tower and you have a little kitchenette, you end up cooking for yourself. And you're walking down to the market and you're getting some beer and you're like, I want to get some wine. It's like, oh, we don't sell wine in here. And it's like, it's confusing. Yeah. And also, I don't know in 2020 who it benefits. And I'm guessing it's the state or it's something. But whatever it is, let's it's like the age of consent. There used to be a lot of range in age of consent. And if there's a lot of range in age of consent, you're sort of asking for trouble. Because if you're someplace where it's 13 and you go to a place where it's 18, you're not going to know. They don't tell you that at the airport. You're going to get into trouble.
Welcome to
Maybe
Montana.
in the airport. Maybe actually in the airport. Well, what I'm saying
Why does
is,
it sound like your statement to the judge?
look,
It's so
I'm not
confusing.
a statistician. Yeah, I forgot my wristband that had all the different states on it.
I'm just a caveman.
Yeah. So my thing with liquor is, again, I went to Road Atlanta. I did a race at Road Atlanta a million years ago. We're heading to the track. I was just watching. We're heading to the track on a Sunday. I'm like, stop off at the supermarket. Let's get a 6-pack, and it was all locked up in a cage. And I didn't know what to make of it. Like, it's Sunday. We're going to the track. Let's get a 6-pack. No can do. So in this day, I will expand it to the pandemic. We've realized what goes on in Wuhan does affect us now, right? Like, there is no such thing as, hey, countries, experiment all you want with whatever viruses you want, do whatever you want. It's on your own soil. No, it'll make its way here. Everything makes its way everywhere now. I feel the same way with booze and travel. I can't go to, I went to Utah and did a show. I was at the bar. I was like, could I have a martini? They're like, well, you're not going to like our martinis. I'm like, why not? We make our martinis with shampoo. And
so Jew.
and I'm like, why? Like, I know, that's what we have to do. And I'm like, I can't order a why can't I get a okay, then give me a boot of beer. Oh, okay. Like, all right. But wait a minute. It's only 4.2, it's 4.0 octane. It doesn't go up to 4.4 until after the solstice. And it's like, what do we need? What year is it? Right. I got here on a Southwest flight, took an hour and 25 minutes. What are we doing here? Can we just open it up? Just open it up. Just
be nice.
Whatever makes sense, let's just do it. All right, sorry, go ahead,
real quick, I just had another thought. Do you know if what you're about to do at Laugh Factory is interactive, if you're going to see comments or anything?
I do not think, I have not asked, I do not think that is how it works.
Okay,
they said
because I was going to say you could do
some.
some.
Be there.
Okay, because I thought if you were seeing comments, you could do unprepared.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll ask one of the 4 people.
Yeah. Make sure everybody knows this was not predetermined.
Yeah.
All right. So these checks, people are starting to get these checks, and President Donald Trump's name will be printed on the check that you receive that IRS is sending out to tens of millions of Americans around the country. The Treasury Department confirmed the decision in a statement Wednesday. It marks the first time a president's name has ever appeared on any IRS payments, whether refund checks or stimulus checks, anything like that. Treasury said that the decision to add Trump's name will not delay in issuance of the paper checks, which will be mailed to the people who are set up to receive them. And I think they also said it can't appear on the signature line, but it can appear in the memo line. So there may have been a tiny holdup, maybe not, to make sure Donald got his credit for these checks.
Now, there's going to be something where it turns out that a lot of African Americans are getting the checks and it's stamped vote in front of Trump.
Right.
There's going to be something, right?
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
Somebody's. On the other hand, I'm trying to think, how much are the checks for?
They range. Aren't they like, depending on kids, if you have kids, it's like 500, 600, 900.
It's kind of catch-22-y because it's going to people who make less than $75K a year, sort of combined household or some version of that.
Yeah, I have to get
which sucks for Rich Whitey because I don't get jack squat. Because I got to tell you, if my son got a check with Donald Trump's name on it and the date on it for $400, I'd be like, you are not hammering that check. I'm going to put that thing in lucite. Yeah. We're going to put it up on the fucking wall. This will be the best thing this family's produced 100 years from now when you're looking at this old. It'll be like a ticket to the Titanic or something.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Name on it.
I was thinking the same thing. Are there people on either side that just think this is so memorable or whatever that they don't cash it, that they frame it?
Wait, you guys know there's mobile deposit, right?
Well, some people are getting direct deposit.
It's all mobile.
Oh, you mean you can have your check and
I'm saying you guys know you can take a picture of it with your app, and then you can keep.
Well then,
Everybody.
Have
Yeah.
your cake and eat it too.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't even think
Sorry
about that
sorry
shit.
about that. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, then everyone's going to do it, right?
Everyone's
Of
gonna
course.
keep it.
Put it in the
Yeah.
shadow box. So yeah, and while many just in case you're listening and you're like, well, where the hell's my check? Many Americans received their stimulus funds via direct deposit on Wednesday. Others didn't, and when they tried to use the Internal Revenue Service's tool to track their money, they ran into more frustration. It appeared it wasn't working, overloaded. Some users went to check on the status, and it says, according to information that we have on file, we cannot determine your eligibility for a payment at this time, and then refers you to the frequently asked questions. So an IRS spokesperson said that those messages are popping up because the system is just overwhelmed with people wanting to track this. Luis Garcia of the IRS said, what happened is instead of having an error message or a message saying the system is busy, it just says your information isn't there. That was the default. He said, just be patient, check back later. If you filed last year's or this year's taxes, we have your information.
I saw a tweet from Garrigus, I guess, earlier today, which basically was I think it was an LA Times article saying that Los Angeles was already in trouble financially before this. So I'm not sure why Los Angeles is in trouble. Pre this corona breakout, but we were in trouble pre, and now post. It's gonna
Not great.
get bad.
He was
yes.
on, by the way, once I got to KFI yesterday, he was on with John and Ken. Gargus was talking about, what you were talking about with the permits and the restaurants and the fees. And it was funny because I don't know that they generally see eye to eye, but the whole show, John was like, it's like you could be hosting the show, Mark. You're saying the exact thing we say every day. So they finally found some common ground, I think.
Well, the thing about Mark, and he's a great guy. The thing that you have to get over with Mark is he defends despicable people that you don't like, but that's his job to some degree, and it's the system we've created.
Right.
And you don't want this to be some sort of popularity contest where this person did something that we think is despicable and they don't deserve to be represented adequately.
Right.
Like that. Look, everyone, I'm sorry, but we have a system, and that is the system. And you can blame guys like Mark all you want, but he's an important part of the system. And you should probably, in general, just get out of the habit of deciding whether you like a person or not by how they perform their job. Who they defend in the performance of their job.
Well, and it may be a little hypocritical depending on who you ask, because people speak all the time about how you want to make sure that there's adequate and proper justice for an inmate or someone in the prison system and how they get the shaft because nobody's really there to represent them. Well, what about the super rich, famous guys that also need a little extra? We don't like what they're represented.
Well, he also takes on tons of cases that you'll never hear about that are little guys and
not high profile.
No, just some, Armenian kid who's being charged with murder for vehicular manslaughter, essentially, and they're trying to railroad him. And Mark's can't believe that the system is trying to put this 19-year-old behind bars for the rest of his life. And he got into an accident. He killed someone in a car, but he wasn't drunk, and it wasn't exhibition of speed. And they're trying to railroad the guy, and he's in there, and nobody cares. Not sexy.
And
not
Mark doesn't care. Mark doesn't care what you think of him, so he's not promoting it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't, and it's kind of a. It's a luxury, but also a real necessity, especially in this time we're living in, to have the wiring that Mark has.
Yeah.
He's able to. A lot of people couldn't function under this barrage of negativity you get when you step out and defend Scott Peterson, or when they make a documentary about you and Michael Jackson, especially when they cook your press conference, where the people that make the documentary actually cook the press conference. And you go from pariah to subhuman by just the cooking of the doc of the press conference.
No, that's a personality trait we should all have.
Well, it's interesting that the two guys, I should talk to Mark Garagos about it. Because you talk to guys like Dr. Drew and Mark Garagos are great friends from childhood. Dr. Drew is greatly affected by all the negativity, and Mark is not. And then literally up the street from Mark Garagos's house, or down the way from Mark Garagos's house, is Dennis Prager. And Dennis Prager takes a ton of shit, but Dennis Prager has faith. He's a religious person, so it doesn't bother him. He only his God can judge him or whatever it is, but he has the faith. So I'm an atheist. I don't care that much. Drew's an atheist. He cares a lot. Garagos seems to have something working for him that it doesn't bother him. But I'd like to talk to Garagos about what it is. He has some like community and some like Armenian heritage and some religion, I think, in there, but I've never really asked how much or why. And I'd be curious. It'd be an interesting thing to explore. All right, Gina, one more.
All right. So Bruce Willis has been self-isolating, but not totally alone. He's doing it with ex-wife Demi Moore. But a source says everything's great between the actor and his current wife, Emma Hemming Willis, and their two young daughters, Mabel and Evelyn. So the current wife with the 5-year-old and the 8-year-old daughters, they're staying in their LA home. Bruce hightailed it over to Demi's for isolation with them. A family insider denies any friction between Bruce and his current wife, telling People magazine there's no issues. Emma needed to stay in LA with the kids. The source adds, it's not unusual for the former couple to hang out. Demi and Bruce have been best friends for years. They're very close. I looked at 5 articles, read all of them, and the only thing, because I was like, why? I just need to know why. And one article only had this line: it's not clear why the family is isolating together. I don't know, but he's with them.
I've seen pictures and everyone's in matching pajamas.
Yep.
Now, that's not a Carolla trait, but
no.
Brian, I bet you and Christy have matching pajamas.
You motherfucker.
I knew it.
We were gifted matching pajamas along with ones for Tessa a year ago by her no good brother. I have not worn the pajamas, but Christy wears them all the time, as does Tessa, and it's adorable.
I know.
Yes. Under this roof, we own a set of matching pajamas.
Right.
We just stick with Halloween costumes.
I didn't purchase them, but
when the DEA comes down on the mule at LAX, you don't go, I was gifted this box of heroin, and I was just bringing it across the border. I'm not a junkie.
I mean, you can say that, but it won't be a serviceable defense.
Right. I keistered these 6 balloons of heroin I was gifted them.
By my father-in-law.
Yes. In the eyes of the law, or do you possess these items or don't you? And the answer is a resounding yes.
Is 9/10 of the law, and we are guilty.
I knew it. I was looking. Do you have a picture of all of them wearing like their striped PJs, Maxipata? I think there's
Yeah, it's up.
I think there's a picture of them all wearing their matching PJs, which
holding,
again,
it's giant forks and spoons. And stuff.
It's all adorable. Of course, I'm outraged.
Ours have mooses on them.
But it's adorable, and I always tell people it's only because I only lash out because I'm jealous. That's all.
There they are.
There they are.
White striped pajamas.
Yes, they're all posing, and it's a perfect tableau. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
What happened? We're here.
You're going to have to sing.
That was the news with Gina Grad.